Hello friends and welcome to YouTube channel Freedom Tech, and in this session what we are going to learn. In this session we are going to count the vehicle frequency and we are going to detect vehicles with the help of yolov8. Also we are going to track the vehicles with the help of yolov8. Okay. So before we move to our practical, friends, if you learn something from our videos, please consider to subscribe our channel. Okay friends, thank you so much and let's get started. So friends, as I mentioned, we are going to basically track vehicles frequency. Means we are going to count how many vehicles are going down and how many vehicles are going up with the help of yolov8 and our tracker. So I already created a video how to install yolov8, OpenCV and Tony Python IDE on Windows machine. This is Windows 11. Of course you can use your Windows 10 machine also. So I will mention videos link, watch video, then you will get the basic idea how to install OpenCV, then Tony, then yolov8 on Windows machine, then how to use OpenCV and yolov8 with the help of Python. Also how to use tracker, how we can track object. So I will mention both videos link, watch video, then you will get the basic idea. So for this session I have already done with object detection and I have already done with tracker. Means there is a basic code which I have already mentioned for this project inside the GitHub repository. So our repository name is basically yolov8 counting tracking vehicles. I will mention the link inside description box, copy and paste the link. Then as we always do, go to the code, click on download zip. It will download our zip format folder. So we have our folder ready. Go show in folder, then right click to the folder, extract with WinRAR. So extract with the folder name. And this is what our folder name, again same folder. And first we want our video file. So inside download.txt we have our video file link. So copy the link and open our browser, new tab, and just press Ctrl+V and just hit enter. It will open the link inside our browser. Then click on I have already downloaded the video, that's why it says the save. So I'm going to simply click on save. We have our video file ready. Okay, so go show in folder. This is what our video folder. Inside that we have our video file. So we need to copy and paste, or let's say cut, and we need to paste the folder inside our main folder, main repository, yolov8 counting tracking vehicles main. Okay, so this is what our video folder. Right click and click on WinRAR extract here. So it will extract our video file. This is what our video file. So if I play the video file, but let me first mute the volume. Okay, so now we are going to play our video file, then we will get the basic idea what basically we are going to do. So as you can see friends, we have here a road and then we have here cars on the road. So we are only going to detect one class, which is car. We are not going to detect truck and bus. We are only going to detect cars. So in the video we can see there is a lot of car going this side. This is basically we can say this is basically our downside of the road, and this is basically our upside of the road. Okay, so right now there is a cars is basically going downside, and right now we don't have any car on this side. Basically there is no car for upside. Okay, so if I skip a little bit, now we have upside cars also. So our goal is what? First we want to detect object, means we want to detect the cars with the help of yolov8. Then we are going to track the vehicles with the help of our tracker. As I mentioned, I have already created a video how to use yolov8 and how to track the object. So I already created the basic code for this session. I create the deep video with all these topics. So I will mention videos link, watch video, then you will get the idea. So in this session we are going to draw the region of interest, and in the particular region of interest area, if the car is there, then we are going to say our car is basically going down, or then we can say our car is basically going upside. So if you watch my old video, so we have already know how we can count the cars with the help of polylines and point polygon test method. But we are not going to use polylines and point polygon test method. We are going to draw here simple line with the help of cv2.line function, we are going to draw here two lines. Then we can say if our car center point, if it is touch at the line which we are going to draw, then we are going to count our vehicle. Okay, so this is the basic idea. First we are going to detect the object with the help of yolov8 s.pt, which is basic model, and then we are going to track the vehicles. Then we are going to draw the line with the help of cv2 line. We are going to draw basically two line, and then we can create our condition. If the object means if the center point of our car, if it is touch the line, then we are going to count. Okay, so this is basic idea. So let's just start our code. As I mentioned, this is what our video file. I have created the basic code, and inside the main.py we have our basic code, and the basic code is basically object detection and tracking. Then we have our tracker.py, and this is what our coco.txt file, which we are going to use as a classes, and we need only one class, which is car. Simple. So let's just open our main.py with the help of Thony Python IDE. So this is what our Thony Python IDE. If I scroll down, as you can see, object detection, rectangle coordinates x1, y1, x2 and y2. Then this is what our class list. We have here our coco.txt file, and class list we are going to basically split the text file line one by one. Means we are going to read the classes from our text file one by one. Okay, so class list is basically variable which represent our coco.txt file classes. Then here I have mentioned C is equal to class list, and D is basically each class ID. Okay, so if the car in C, as I mentioned, I'm not going to explain all these things again because I have already created the video. So if car is in C, then we are going to append our rectangle list, because we want to use here our tracker. So we want to use here tracker, so we need to pass our rectangle coordinates inside our tracker. So for that we need to create the list. So simply I have created here a condition: if the car is in our video, then only we are going to create the list, and inside that list I have passed the x1, y1, x2 and y2. Simple. Then we have our list. Here it is, as you can see, list, and inside that list we have our rectangle coordinates. Now with the help of tracker, we are going to basically call our tracker first. So bbox id is equal to tracker.update. So here if I scroll up, here it is, as you can see, from tracker import all. So we have our tracker file. If I open the tracker, so this is what our tracker file. So tracker is our file name, so we need to call our tracker file. So from tracker import all the things from tracker. For that I have mentioned star. Okay, simple. Then we need to create here a variable basically. So variable is tracker, you can mention any variable. So I have mentioned tracker, this is the variable. Tracker is equal to our class. So our class is basically tracker, T is capital, so we need to mention as it is T capital tracker class. And inside that file we have update function. So if we want to use the function, simply we want to mention our variable which is tracker, and then our function is basically update. So here as you can see I have mentioned bbox id, this is just a variable. Bbox id is equal to tracker.update, and inside that we need to pass our list which we append, and inside that list we have our rectangle coordinates. Then we are going to use, of course, for loop for bbox in bbox id. Then with the help of tracker we will get the new coordinates for rectangle. So again we need to create new variable. So x3, y3, x4, y4, this is the new rectangle coordinates variable, and we have new variable which is basically id. With the help of tracker we are going to assign the id, specific id for each car. So x3, y3, x4, y4, the rectangle coordinates, and the id is equal to our bbox. Then we need a center point. As I mentioned, our concept is what? We are going to draw the line, and if the line not line, basically we are going to draw the line, and if the car center point, if touch the line, then we are going to count. For that we need a center point. So cx is equal to int x3, this x3 plus x4 divided by 2 we will get cx, and cy is equal to y3 and y4 plus divided by 2, then we will get cy. So we have now cx and cy. Simply we can draw the circle, means we can draw the center point for each object, each car. Then cv2 dot put text method, we are going to put our id on our car. Okay, and cx and cy, where we want to put our id as a text, we want to put the id as a text on our center point coordinate. So we need to mention coordinate cx and cy. Then this is what the font, this is what the scale, color, and this is what our thickness for text. Simple. So this is the basic method where we detect the object and where we track our object. So if let's just freeze the frame, we are going to skip our frame one by one. So if I start the code, so now it's downloading our basic model, which is yolov8 s.pt. As you can see, it's now downloading our basic model, pre-trained model. So friends, as you can see, our video is ready and we have our tracker. We detect the object. Okay, so I have not mentioned the cv2.rectangle method. If you want to mention, simply you can mention cv2.rectangle method. We only want here a center point, so I have mentioned only cv2.circle method. So we have a car object and their center point, and on the center point, as you can see, we have id for each object. So if I skip the frame one by one, as you can see, the id is same. Whenever car is moving, id is same. For this car, we can see, for this car we have 2 is the id and their center point is still same, 2 is there. Okay, so we can simply mention the condition. If our id is there and we are going to track their condition, not condition, we are going to track the position when the car center point touch the line, we are going to save the id of the car and we are going to save the current position of that car inside our dictionary when our car touch at the line. So this is the basic concept. Okay, so we have done with object detection, we have center point, and we have our tracker. Also we have id for each object. Now we are going to move, we are going to draw the line. Simple. So for that I have already mentioned the code here. As you can see, cv2.line, we are going to draw our line on our frame, and this is what the coordinates for drawing the line. Okay, but I am going to explain how you can draw the line. Simple. So let me first save the code. If I start the code, it will draw the line on our frame. So as you can see, we have a line, 2 line in white color. So this is what our first line and this is what our second line. Okay, so how to draw the line? So this is basically function cv2.line. This is the function frame, and we need here xy coordinates for starting and we need xy coordinate for ending. Okay, so we have our mouse function. So if I move my mouse cursor on our frame, then we have xy coordinates inside shell. As you can see, if I move the mouse cursor over here, because this is what our start point, so we have coordinates inside shell 271 and 323. Okay, so let's just say here 268322. So this is what the start point where we want to start our line, 268322. So let's just mention here, I have already mentioned the coordinates, but for our knowing purpose, let's just mention the new coordinates. So if I want to start the line from here, 267323. So let's just mention 267323. So this is what our first coordinates, start line. Okay, these coordinates. So at the end we have here, let's say this one, 829323. Okay, 829323. Okay, remember one thing here friends, this y coordinates of both start line and end line we need to mention same. Suppose 267 and 323, this is the start coordinates of drawing line, and at the end we have 829, or let's say here we have 325. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, as you can see, line is basically same, but we need to mention the y coordinates always same for creating our condition. Our condition is what? Our condition, if our object center point, if it is touch at the line, then we are going to count. So this is what our condition. So for that condition, we need to mention the y coordinates same. If the y coordinates of start line is 3 to 3, then here we need to mention 3 to 3. Okay, so this is the basic thing. So this is what our start line xy coordinates, this is what our end line xy coordinates, and the y coordinates always we want to mention same as we mention at the start line y coordinates. So this is the 3 to 3, so here also I want to mention 3 to 3. So if I save the code, if I run the code, line will be same. There is small changes, not big changes, there is small changes we can't see. Okay, so we have our first line ready. Now next thing is what? Now what we want to do, instead of mentioning the number, instead of mentioning the y as a number, this is the coordinates, we are going to create the variable. So we need to create a variable for line 1. Line 1 we are going to mention cy1. Okay, so where is, I have already mentioned, so here it is, as you can see, cy1, this is what our variable, and cy1 is basically what? Cy1 is basically our line y coordinates. This is the x coordinates and this is the y coordinates. So cy1 is basically our line y coordinates 3 to 3. So we need to mention over there, I have mentioned cy1 is equal to 3 to 3. That's it. Now we need to simply mention, instead of the number we are going to mention cy1 over here, cy1, simple. So same way for second line, if I save the code, if I run the code, we have done with line 1. Now same thing we are going to use for line 2. Just move the cursor over here, this is what our second line, 167367, 167367. So 167367, this is what the start line, start point for second line, and this is what our end point for second line. So if I move the cursor over, 932369, 932369, 932 and 369. Again, what we are going to do, we are going to mention the y coordinates same. So this one is 367, so here also I am going to mention 367, and we are going to create a new variable for our second line, which is cy2. I have already mentioned here, as you can see, cy2. So cy2 is basically our line y coordinates. So what is the digit? 367 is the number, so we need to mention 367 as a cy2. So cy2 is basically 367. So simply, instead of number we are going to mention variable, which is cy2, and here also we have cy2. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, now we have two lines. This is basically our area. So as you can see, we have two lines. Now for our knowing purpose, what we are going to do, we are going to mention the text. So this is what our line 1. So what I am going to do, let's just copy and paste our put text method, copy it, and this is what our first line. So after that we are going to mention our put text method. Okay, and we are going to mention the text. So this is what our first line. Okay, first line, and the coordinates for this text we are going to mention, this is what our first line. So let's just mention here, inside shell we have 274,318, 274,318. 274 318. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, and as you can see, this is what our first line, we mentioned the text, so first line is there, and this is basically our second line. So same way, copy paste the put text method after where we have cu2.line function for drawing second line. After that we are going to mention put text method, and this first will become second, and we need a coordinates again. So here let's say over here 181.365 inside shell, as you can see 181.363. okay, so 181.363. okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, now we have second line as a text on our second line, as you can see. So now it will easy to understand which one is first line, which one is second line. For that I have mentioned cu2.putText method, and I have mentioned the text on the line. So this is what our first line and this is what our second line. Simple. We have done with object detection, we have tracker, we have line. Now we are going to move our next code. So what is our condition? As I mentioned, our condition is what? If our car center point, if it is touch at the first line, then we are going to assign the ID. Simple. So for this we need offset point. So I have mentioned the offset point 6, as you can see, offset point which is 6. So we are going to create our condition with this offset cy1, and for line 2 cy2, and our coordinates which is cy, because this is basically y side. Okay, this is basically the x side. So our vehicle is going basically this side. Okay, this side. So we are going to use a cy coordinates of our center point, cy coordinates. So if the center point cy coordinates, if it is touch at the line, then only we create our condition. So for that we need offset point, we need cy coordinates of our center point, also we need cy1. Okay, so cy1 is basically for line 1 and cy2 is basically for line 2, as we mentioned. Simple. So we can create our condition. So here after where we have center point, we can say our condition is like this way. If first we are going to only go with cy1. If our center point, we are only going to mention the condition for first line, then after we are going to move with second line, only first line. Okay, so if our car center point, if the center point, if it is touch at the first line, then we are going to create our condition. Okay, so first line we have cy1, so we need to mention if cy1 less than cy coordinates of our center point plus offset. Okay, if cy1 less than cy plus offset, and if cy1 if it is greater than cy minus offset. Okay, and this is what our condition. Then only we are going to draw the circle, and then only we are going to put the text, means we are going to put the ID as a text on our car center point. When our car center point touch at the line, first line, then only we are going to draw the center point, then only we are going to draw then only we are going to put the ID. Okay, so this is what our condition. If cy1 is basically assigned for first line, cy2 is assigned for second line. Okay, as we mentioned here, as you can see, cy1 this is the first line, and if I scroll down, this is the second line, we have mentioned here cy2. Okay, so cy1 we are going to only create a condition for cy1 line 1, so we need to mention cy1 because cy1 is assigned for line 1. Simple. So if cy1 is less than cy plus offset we mention offset is equal to 6, and if cy1 is greater than cy minus offset, then we are going to draw the circle, then we are going to put our id as a text. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, oh, there is a problem, and I know what is the problem. Here we don't want to mention if. The condition is like this way: if cy1 is less than cy plus offset, and there is no need to mention again if, then only direct cy1 is greater than cy minus offset. That's why we have a error. As you can see, the invalid syntax. Okay, simple silly mistake. If I run the code, as you can see, before we mention our condition, there is a detection. There is a detection and id, but right now there is no detection and id because our car center point is not touching at the first line. When it touch, then only we have center point, then only we have id. So if I skip the frame, as you can see, now it's the first car. If touch at the first line, as you can see, we have red color center point and we have yellow color id on the first car. Okay, watch for second car. Now our car pass our first line, again there is no center point, there is no id. Okay, so now watch for second car. Second car touch the line, then we have center point, then we have id for this car, which is 0. Cross the line, again there is no center point, there is no id. Watch for third car, touch the line, there is center point and there is id. Means we successfully create our condition. What is our condition? Our condition, if the car center point, if it is touch the first line, then only we want to show the circle, then only we want to put the id. Simple. So we have done with first line. Same way for second line. Only what we are going to do, we are going to mention here, instead of cy1 we are going to mention cy2, and here also we are going to mention cy2. Now what will happen? Let's just watch. If I save the code, if I run the code, now car touch at the first line, but there is no center point, there is no id, because we change our condition. Now we want to touch the center point at the second line, then only we want to draw the center point, then only we want to show the id. Okay, so watch the first car, it's touch the second line, we have center point red color, we have yellow color id. Watch the second car, touch the second line, we have center point red color center point, we have yellow color id, and the id is same 0. Okay, here also same way. Okay, so we check our condition for both line. Now we have done with our region of, we can say our region of interest area, we have done with this condition. Now our second condition is what? How to know the car is basically going down and how to know the car is basically going up. Simple. For that we create two line. Okay, so if I run again code, we cross check our condition is working for both line. If it is touch as the first line, we have center point, we have id. If the car center point touch at the second line, we have center point red color and we have id. So means our both line is working. Now what we are going to do? How to know the car is going downside? First go with downside. Okay, so when the car want to go at this side, the downside, the car center point, first it will touch at the first line, then it will touch at the second line. So we can simply create our condition. When the car center point touch at the first line, we are going to save their current position, also we are going to save their id inside the dictionary. Okay, so when car center point touch at the first line, simply we need to save the each car id and each car current position inside the dictionary, and then we can simply say now we have the id and their current position inside the dictionary when the car touch at the first line. So simply we can say if the id inside our dictionary, only those id we can count which basically touch at the second line. If the car not touch at the first line, but if it is touch at the second line, we are not going to say the car is basically going downside. Simple. This is what our condition. So simply we can say here we need to mention our first condition, so we need to change cy2 with cy1 because we are going to create the condition for downside. So downside first car will touch at the first line, so cy1 is assigned for first line. So if cy1 the condition is same, then what we are going to do, as I mentioned, we are going to create the dictionary. Inside that dictionary we are going to save the id for each car and we are going to save their condition. So how to do this? So simply we can create here a new variable. So let's say vh vehicle vh down, then list format we need to save the id of each car is equal to their current position. So not need to mention a bracket, so simply mention cy1 because when our car touch at the line, the current position is basically cy, our center point cy, and the id is basically we can say the id is basically each car what we can say each car identification, because we are assigning the id for each car. So this is, if we want to say the 1 is basically assigned for this car, 0 is basically assigned for this car. So simply we need to save their id and their current position inside the dictionary. So we mention vh down is the new variable, vh down id and their current position, and here we need to mention the dictionary. Okay, so here what we are going to do, we are going to mention dictionary as we mentioned vh down is equal to empty dictionary. Simple. So let's just call our dictionary over here. So here we can mention print, then we will get the idea, print vh down. This is what our dictionary. So when our car touch at the first line, we can see we are basically saving their id and their current position. Okay, if I save the code, if I run the code, so now watch inside the shell, friends. Now first car is basically not touch at the first line. When it will touch inside shell, as you can see, this is basically our vh down dictionary, which basically we are going to save the id inside that dictionary. So we have now 1 is the id and their current position is basically 322. Okay, so we save the first car and their current position. Now for second car, touch the line, save id which is 0 and the current position is 318. Same way for third car, 2 is the id, as you can see on the car 2 is the id and their current position is 327. So we successfully saving their id and their current position. Now we have, as we mentioned, we have id and their current position. So simply we can create a new condition. We only want to count those vehicles which inside our dictionary. So we can simply mention here again new condition, if id means if id is basically particular car because we assign the id for each car. So we can simply say if id in our dictionary, so our dictionary name is vh down, if id is in our dictionary, those only vehicles we are going to count when they are touched the second line. So same way this condition for touching the line, this condition only we are going to change the cy1 with cy2. Okay, so if id in vh down, those only vehicles we are going to count when the vehicle center point touch the second line. It will first touch the first line, we save the id and current position, then we mention we only want to count those vehicles which we have inside our dictionary. We only want to count those vehicles at the second line which we have inside our dictionary. So for that, if id in vh down, if cy1, we are going to simply mention here cy2 because now the car will touch at the second line. So if cy2 here also, then only we can say we are going to draw the circle, we are going to put the text method. Okay, so now what we are going to do, if I save the code, if I run the code, So it will touch the first line, but it will not show the center point and the ID, because we want to show the center point and the ID when the car touch at the second line, and only those vehicles which already touch at the first line, because we are saving only those vehicles which already touch at the first line inside our dictionary. Okay, so now when it touch at the first line, we have ID and we have center point. So this is what our condition. For this side, for upside, only we are going to reverse the condition. Okay, but we are not done with this side. Okay, now we create our both condition. Now what we want to do, we want to save the ID. Okay, so simply we can say here, after we have our put text condition where we match our both condition. Okay, so here we can simply say like this way. We can create here down count. Okay, down count, this is the new variable, down count dot add, and inside that we are going to save the ID of each car, down count dot add. Okay, now what we are going to do here, let's just not like this way, we can simply create here, let's create the counter plus is equal to 1. Okay, so when our car match our both condition, then we are going to count. So for that we need to simply mention the counter. So here we are going to create a counter is equal to 0. Okay, counter is equal to 0, and we mention here our counter. So simply now we know what we have inside our base down, so we don't want to print again and again. So simply now we print a counter. Okay, counter. So if I save the code, if I run the code, so it will touch the first line, we save the ID and their current position, then it will touch the second line. Now inside the shell, watch, as you can see we have 1, means we counted one vehicle, then we have second vehicle touch the line, as you can see the number is second. Okay, then we have third vehicle, we count at the 3, means we counted the 3 vehicles. Okay, now what we are going to do, simple, we need to create this as a list. So simply we can mention here counter dot append, and inside that we need to mention ID. Okay, counter dot append, inside that we need to mention ID, and here we are going to mention empty list. So counter is basically our empty list. Okay, now if I save the code, if I run the code, so now we create the list. When a car touch at the second line, we want to create the ID list. Okay, so if I skip the frame, first car touch, we have ID first. Okay, so second car touch at the line, we have 0, means we are basically their ID. Okay, then let's go for another car, we touch the car touch at the line, we have their ID. Okay, let's just skip a frame one by one. Again we have some more car coming, watch for this car, it touch at the first line, we are saving the ID and current position. Now only those ID we are going to count at the second line. So here it is, as you can see, ID is basically saving inside our list. Okay, simple. So what we are going to do now, simply counter dot append, and we are saving the ID. So simply here we can say print length of our counter. Okay, so if I save the code, and now this time what we are going to do, instead of freezing frame, we are going to start our while loop. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, as you can see we have first, we have second, third, we count 3 vehicles, we counted fourth one, this one is fifth one, sixth one, 8, 9. So we counted 9 vehicles. Okay, we count 9 vehicles for going downside. So simply what we are going to do, we are going to use here put text method. Okay, and here we can say this as D is equal to for downside, and here we can mention going down like this way plus str string, and inside that we need to mention our D, and the coordinates where we want to put our text 60 and let's say 60 40. Okay, so if I save the code, if I run the code, so here it is, as you can see, going down, the counter is started. We counted 3 vehicles already, 3 vehicles which we already count. This one is the fourth one, fifth one, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, so we successfully counting downside vehicles. Now same condition, we are going to only mention the second line first, because when the car want to go upside, it will touch the second line first. Okay, let me freeze the frame again. It will touch the second line again. So if I start the code, so we have done with downside. So if the car wants to go upside, first he need to touch the second line, then it will touch at the first line. So when car touch at the second line, same way we are going to save their ID and current position. Then we can create the new condition. If the car touch at the second line, of course we have their ID and their current position, only those vehicle we are going to count at the first line for going upside. Same condition, only reverse way. Okay, so we are going to simply copy paste all our method from this. If cy want to counter append, we are going to only change variable. Also we are going to change condition with the reverse side. Okay, so here first we need to mention if cy1, so first it will touch at the second line, so cy2 assign for second line. So here also I am going to mention cy2. Then we need to first check if it is in line. So now it's in line. Okay, and this vh down, we are going to mention new variable which is vh up. Okay, so here we need to mention vh up, vh up like this way, and then this counter we are going to mention counter 1 is equal to empty list, counter 1 is equal to empty list. And here first it will touch where is our condition, this one. Okay, so here what we are going to do, we can say here this is for going down. Okay, going down. So if cy2 first it will touch the second line, then we are going to save the ID and current position inside vh up dictionary. Then if the ID in vh up, okay, vh up, only those vehicles we are going to count at first line. So we cy1. Okay, all the things are same, and here we are going to mention counter with counter 1. Okay, counter 1, all the way good. Now simply same way we are going to mention the text. So copy all these things, and same way we have our counter 1 for counting the vehicles going upside. So counter 1, and this we can say u up, and here we can change the name. So text going up, and here we need to mention u, and where we want to put our text, we need a coordinate. So let's say 130, and all is good. If I save the code, if I run the code, So here it is going up. Okay, so let's just start our while loop. So we are counting both side vehicles, so there is no vehicles for upside, so that's why we have 0 counter. We count 3 vehicles for going down, fourth one is there. Let's just watch. 5, 6, this is what, 7, 8, 9, we counted 9 vehicles. This one is 10, 10. As you can see friends, here there is something problem. Okay, let me show you what is the problem. If I start the code again, this is the first vehicle which you count. So we have first, this one is second, this one is third. Okay, we have more vehicle. There is some problem. We are basically counting some vehicle again and again, so counter is basically increasing. So we have some false count. Watch for this. This one is fourth, all the way good. This one is fifth, sixth. As you can see, this is the sixth vehicle, but we counted this one again, so we have 7, but we only count 6 vehicle. Means there is some ID which basically counting again and again. We have double ID again and again. So we can simply create the condition, if the ID is again and again inside our dictionary, not dictionary, basically inside our list, we don't want to count, we want to count same ID only once. So simply that's why we have double counting. For this vehicle, this is basically 6 number vehicles, we count as a 6th one, but it's counting double, that's why we have 7. Okay, let me show you here what is the problem, then you will get the idea. Okay, so this is what our going downside. So we have our counter. So again what we are going to do, we are going to print our counter, print counter. Okay, so let's just skip the frame. Watch inside shell. Okay, all the way good. For these vehicles we are good, it's counting perfect. We have ID, we have 3 ID because we counted 3 vehicles, so 3 ID, 102, all the way good. The next vehicle is coming, it touched the second line. We have 19, the ID we counted 4th vehicle, 19 ID is there, 4th vehicle. This one is the 5th one, ID is there inside shell. As you can see we have 17, so perfect count. Watch for this vehicle, it will touch the line. We have 6 count, we have 21 ID is there, and it's touching the second line. And if I skip the frame, it's still there. So for that, here it is, as you can see, here it is, as you can see inside shell we have 21, 21, means we have counting the 21 ID double time, 2 times. That's why the vehicle is counting 6 and 7, double count. So for that we need to mention, please don't count same ID again and again. So simply we can create here a condition. Here counter dot append, first we can say if counter dot count, what we want to count, we want to count ID, so we need to mention that over here. We want to count ID. If counter dot count ID is equal to 0, then only counter dot append an ID. Okay, now watch the magic. Okay, if I save the code, if I run the code for same vehicle, 6th one, okay, these vehicles are good, there is no double counting. We have counted 3 vehicles, all the way good. I am skipping the frame one by one because I have freeze the frame. Okay friends, so 4th one perfect, 19 ID is there, 5th one 17 ID there. Now watch for this vehicle, it will touch the line. Okay, we have 6 count and the pass. There is no double count. Before we mention our condition, there is double count. We have 21 and 21. Now it's good. We have only count 6 vehicle. There is no double count. 21 is only once. Okay, so now we match our condition. Now same condition we are going to mention for our upside. So simply here where we have our upside condition, here also we can say if counter 1 dot count id, don't count the same id again and again. So if counter 1 dot count, inside that we need to mention the id, because we want to mention what we want to count. We want to count our id. So simply we want to mention our id is equal to 0. If this condition match, then counter 1 dot append. Simple. Now we have done with full code. Now simply we can watch our code working magic. Okay, simply if I save the code, if I run the code, I have start the while loop. Now there is no double count. 1, 2, 3. We have counted 3 vehicles for going downside. Fourth one is coming. 4, 5, 6. As you can see, there is no double count. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Okay, so we counted 11 going down vehicles. Now upside we have first vehicle. As you can see, going up first vehicle is basically going up. We counted first one. Here we counted 13, which is going downside. There is one more vehicle coming for going down. So 13 we have already count, and this one is 14. So 15 vehicle going downside. This one is 15. So we counted going downside 15 vehicle. Now going upside second vehicle. This one is basically truck, so it will not count. So truck is not count because we mentioned the condition we only want to count the car. So we counted 4 car. This one is the 5th. 6th one for going up, we counted 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. Then this one is the 10, then 11, then 12, then this one is the 13. So as you can see friends, with the help of line function, also we mentioned when we want to count the car, when the car center point touch at the line, then we are going to create the counter. I hope you will learn something from this video. We will meet our next video. Till then, thank you, take care, and bye bye.